Truth Speaks. It is provocative, it is thought provoking, it is bold and embodies the very nature of both the human experience and the human condition. All right, folks, welcome to the Truth Speaks podcast, where real conversations are had with real people. I'm your host, Dee Mosley, and we're broadcasting from YD Creative Studios. We have with us a phenomenal guest who is ready to share his truth. Welcome with me, Shamar Houston. How you doing, Shamar?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Before we get started on our diving deep into conversation, your truth, I'm gonna let the folks know a little bit about who you are. Podcast style. We're gonna read your bio just a little bit so folks can know who Shamar is. So, Shamar Houston, we're doing a little shade. Shamar Houston is a 30-year-old award-winning clothing designer, music artist, actor, and model. He is from Roanoke, Alabama. Whoop, whoop. He is a 2-time award-winning designer and 3-time nominated model. He graduated from LaGrange High School. What? I thought you graduated from Roanoke. Hanley. Wow. Okay. Look. I just learned something today. Okay. In 2013 is when he graduated from LaGrange High School. His start in the entertainment industry began in 2014. So he's been doing it for a while. And since he has added so many accomplishments to his resume, and since I meant to say, comma, he has added so many accomplishments to his resume and met and worked with dozens of celebrities, but he is not finished yet, he says, and says he is just getting started. So, Shamar, welcome to Truth Speaks, honey. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us.
Of course.
So let's get into it. But before we get into it, listen, I want to make sure that everyone knows who our headline sponsor is for season 1 of Truth Speaks. And it is none other than Alfreda and the Voices of Hope. So make sure you check them out. You'll see a little graphic to where you can find them later. So Shamar, listen, let's get into it. So you've worn many hats: clothing designer, music artist. That I love that. I've actually listened to some of your stuff.
Okay.
Honey, you are talented in so many ways. Okay. Actor, model. So tell us, which one of those identities fuels your passion the most? And why do you think it's so hard for others to juggle multiple creative careers like you have done?
I've been asked that question so many times.
Okay.
Out of everything you do, which one is your favorite? And it's always really hard for me to answer that. Because I put passion into everything that I do.
Right.
But I guess if I was forced to choose one, it would have to be honestly between acting and music, which I know a lot of people would not have expected that.
No, my stomach just dropped, honey, because I just knew you was about to say fashion design.
Yeah.
Because I would think that because your arts, I guess in so many ways, gets to be seen by the world all over, because you're all over the country.
Yeah.
So I would have thought you would have said your prom dresses, your wedding really.
See,
And I'm gonna tell you why I say that, because when it comes to acting and music, folks don't necessarily, it's not necessarily out there. Like, unless you're actively branding it, people would have to go find it.
Mhm.
But your designs, folks are walking billboards.
Yeah. That is
So tell me why modeling and acting are your favorites.
So 2014, when I began my journey in the entertainment industry, I began doing modeling and acting.
Right, you started there.
That's where I started. So that has always been, acting has always been a passion when I stepped into it.
Right.
The clothing design is something that I love, and obviously you see it through my work.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that happened out of the blue. I had never ever had the idea that I would be a clothing designer. That just happened. That literally happened. I had not touched a sewing machine since 8th grade up until 2019, I think is when I started.
I'm so shook.
Yeah.
Is that what y'all say, shook? I'm so shook.
I guess I'm I'm 30. I don't know.
Because, you wear your fashion so effortlessly. And, I'm just, Wow.
It is now. It is fashion is something that definitely comes natural to me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something when it comes to acting because with acting, what I love about acting is I can step outside of myself and pretend to be someone else.
That is very true.
For a moment.
That is very true.
And then with music, I use music as a healing mechanism.
Yeah.
So I can be going through something, maybe like a relationship breakup or something, and I'm calling my group, and I'm like, y'all, we need to go to the studio.
And you can rap too, right?
Yeah, I rap and I sing.
I said, I was so crashed out from that. I was like, what, Shamar?
And you know what got me into acting? The So Gone challenge.
Really?
The So Gone challenge. Everyone was doing
during COVID.
This was before COVID.
Really?
This had to be like 2016, maybe.
Oh wow, very much so. Okay.
Yeah, and
I did not know
everyone
that.
was doing it, and I was like, let me see what I can do. And I wrote, and I was like, what? I actually can write and rap. And ever since then, I've been
And you do it well.
into it. Yeah, it's been.
Hey, look at my boy.
Yeah, the music is actually has been low key doing we've been catching some eyes of some big people, and which is crazy because we haven't even released any music really. We released.
So would you say that you've been catching some eyes of some big people because of your fashion though? Because you're more known for that. No?
Not with the music.
Wow.
It's like two separate entities. Like we had I can't say that, but we had a really big we're actually right now. There's a really big producer that has worked with Janet, Whitney, Chris Brown.
Stop it
And,
right now.
and he actually heard one of our original songs.
Yeah.
I'm in a group, Press Play. And so he heard one of our original songs.
Are y'all hearing this? He's been holding on.
I know I haven't shared this
been holding out.
I actually just found this out the other day. When we were at the studio, but he is actually wanting to produce our first album.
Wow.
And this isn't the first go round that we've had with like someone big in the entertainment industry because we were working with another producer. He's actually a Grammy award winning songwriter.
My goodness.
So it's like it's been.
See, I'm crashing out right now. Okay. So let's so looking back at your journey with all of this exciting stuff that's happening right now since 2014, what would you say has been the biggest risk that you've taken that could have either made you or broke your career?
I would say moving to Atlanta made my career.
Wow. And do you feel like it was a risk? That you was like, okay, I'm ready to take that risk? It
was only because this was the first time that I moved out from my mom or my grandma.
Hometown.
So this is the first time I moved. And yeah, it was a little scary, but I had been going to Atlanta so much that I loved Atlanta, but it still was like.
So how do you feel about it? You're on your own, but how is it faring for you? How long have you been on your own?
So
in Atlanta.
I moved to Atlanta in 2017.
Okay.
And I moved from Atlanta 2018. And it was one of those situations. I had roommates. I keep it real.
Oh,
I had roommates, and my roommates were not roommating at all.
Okay, hold that thought. So with that being said, we're going to take a break right here, and we're going to get back into it. But we're also just going to make sure that we let you know again that our headline sponsor is Alfreda and the Voices of Hope, and we're thanking them so very much for what they do. We'll be right back after this break. It's too late, And we're back with Shamar. So you was just talking about the roommates with rooming and roommating. I remember one time I had a roommate, and it was not a fun thing at all. Maybe some people have different experiences, but how about yours?
Yeah. Oh my God. My roommate situation was not one that was good. I moved to Atlanta and my credit score I think was like a 760. I moved up there I think with
good credit score.
$5,000 cash, and I was 22 2, I think, at the time.
Right.
So when I moved, I was ready.
Wow.
And by the time I left, credit score dropped to like.
How did that happen?
I had
roommates?
Yes, that were not financially
Shamar.
responsible, and I had to take over and do what I could to make sure we were staying
No,
afloat.
you carrying other grown folks and other people cheering.
It like if I
You
went
out there
into
trying to make
oh
it.
my god, if I went into it, it was crazy. But then that was the thing because I'm like, we're all up here on a mission together, on the same mission.
Right.
But yeah, so my mom was like, just move up here to Virginia and don't worry about paying any bills, just catch back up on your stuff.
Wow.
So 2018, I moved to Virginia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I moved to Virginia in 2018. Met someone up there a month later. Was engaged. Yeah, was engaged. I think like 7 months later.
No.
And married a year later. And a lot of people don't know that I'm married, so that I was married. So
did not know that.
Yeah.
Sir, this is your truth.
I'm dropping all the bombs today. Yes.
Do people in your hometown even know you were married?
I don't think a lot of people know, because it was nothing. It was not one of those things where I posted on social media. It was like,
Yeah.
so-
I think we all assume that social media, especially for us that are on social media a lot, and we have like this huge social media presence. I think folks think that we put everything on there just because it looks like we put everything on there, but some things we save for our personal lives.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for doing that, because some folks put everything out there.
They do.
I know this is Truth Speaks, but hey, some things are reserved just for ourselves.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important. When you're an influencer or whatever the case may be on social
And you,
media,
yeah,
it is important to of course share with your followers and everything, but it's also important to keep some stuff
maintain.
for
Yeah,
yourself.
it's important to share
Yeah.
because for content's sake and for the brand's sake, right? But it's important to to save some things for yourself.
Yeah.
I agree. So in saying that, so we've talked about Shamar's career somewhat, and we'll probably get back to some of that. But I feel like this is going in another direction. So who is Shamar? What is Shamar's story? What makes you the man that you are today? I know that's a broad question, but who are you? Tell us a little bit about you.
Shamar. Wow. That's
Yeah, because you just told us you were married that we did not know. You lived in how talk to us a little bit about that. You said we're married. What is that all about?
So yeah, when you're young and you think you have everything figured out, you think you know what all it takes to
in them 20s.
Yes, you think you have everything figured out. You know what it is to be in a relationship, what it is to be in love.
Talk about it, Mr. 30-year-old. Tell
Oh my God! Don't remind me. But you really you can lose yourself, and
that's good.
Me and him honestly both were, I say, young and dumb. Now the beginning, no. But towards the end, very, very toxic.
Wow.
Fighting. I'm sharing a lot. I'm gonna drop all the tea today. But no, we were.
Baby, that's what you said. That's what you told us, that you was gonna come on here and we could ask you anything.
You're right. I did say that. But no, yeah, we were. It became very toxic. We were fighting. It was like we were fussing every day. That was, and I've been through quite a lot.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing that I have ever gone through in my life.
Would you say that was your first, I'm going to use the word trauma. Was that your first traumatic experience as far as a real relationship?
Yes, because when you're in high school, you're like, oh, this is my first love.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, no, your first love will make you realize that your first love wasn't your first love. Right. So,
honey, would you please say that one more time?
To the camera, your first love will make you realize that your first love really was not your first love.
Right. That's a great gem.
Because when you're in high school, you're dating people and you're like, oh, this is fun, but you're living with your parents, they're living with yours. When you get into that adult relationship, when y'all are living together, and y'all are sharing a space, and y'all are taking care of bills and credit cards and all that other stuff, that's a completely different relationship and a completely different love.
Right.
So,
woo!
Yeah, I learned a lot throughout that. Me and him now are in a very good space as friends. Like we're not together at all, but we're in the best space as friends that I honestly never thought that we would be
you
in.
all can come together and have conversations. You reach out to one another.
It's actually
about your lives.
It's a beautiful thing because I'm going to be honest.
Everybody can't do that.
I was not ready for us to end. That part almost honestly took me out. And I never thought that we would be to a place where he could talk to me about his dating life and I could talk to him about my dating life.
Usher's, what is it, the song where he's saying, we're good. We're
so the one with,
you know what I'm saying? We're
not
good,
but we're still good. Yeah,
that's where y'all at.
I mean, yeah. He's in a new relationship now, and I never honestly thought I would be able to sit there and listen to him talk about someone else
to get past that.
But now, it's a beautiful thing to have gone through everything that we went through and now be in a space where we can actually talk. And we don't talk all the time, but when we do, it's always good conversation and laughs and everything. And he was like my first love. And you know, so he's someone that I honestly will always be here for. I always love him, and we just good friends though.
Yeah, still vibe. I get it.
We're good friends.
I love that. So, and you said you all were married for how long?
3.5 years.
Stop! Right?
Yeah, 3.5 years.
We were not married for 3 years, and we did not know that.
He was in the military, so we were stationed in Virginia.
Wow.
So,
okay. So that is the good but toxic part of it. But tell us a little bit about, in what ways do you think your story can inspire others? And let's pull back, let's pull from your career and your relationship. What would you say and could inspire someone? And you've been given some really good advice, but how would you inspire what would inspire someone from what you just shared? But and I'll say who's also who may be going through some relationship struggles, and they may be experiencing some of the same things that you experienced in your relationship. And we're gonna get into that. Give me a little tidbit, and then we're gonna take a break.
Okay. I would say as far as relationship, but this is also advice you can use for just your own personal life outside of relationships. Sometimes it is important to step away from the forest so that you can see the trees.
Woo! So that thought. We'll be right back in just a minute. Yo, did y'all know this man was married? I'm crashing out. We'll be right back.
I'm weak.
It's too late. It is too late, my Lord. We're back, and Shamar was just sharing with us some things about what he can share with us, or those of us that are watching, that can inspire you through some of the struggles that he shared. So, just continue. Tell us what inspiration we can draw from that.
So, one thing, one word that comes to my mind is just perseverance. To just make sure that regardless of what it is that you're going through, that you don't stop. Because I remember being in a space throughout my marriage when we were like real bad, where I was the one in Virginia that was known to bring people together. Like I was always hosting something.
Right.
And it had got to a point where I would get an event together, everybody would be on the way, and I wouldn't even go.
What?
I would literally be in the bed, laying in the dark, just like I don't want to be bothered. Wow. And I got really
after you've put everything together.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I got really depressed. And it even affected my performance at work. I was a executive assistant at a black-owned company in Virginia Beach. And and that was the first time I got fired from a job. And not you, Shamar. Yeah, I got fired from a job,
as very focused and laser, like on your stuff type person you were fired.
Yeah, and after, like I said earlier, sometimes you're standing too close to the forest, you can't see the trees. When I was finally able to step back, and I was like, "This is your fault," because I would
You
literally
were able to admit that to yourself.
that it was my fault.
That is good because a lot of us can't do that. We want to place the blame
on everybody else.
everything outside of ourselves and everybody else, especially in younger folk, even older people. Yeah, we try to shift the blame from saying that it's actually us when it's us.
Yeah, sometimes we are the problem of our own demise.
Yeah.
And because it was times I would pull up to work and sit in the car and cry for 2-3 hours and finally not go in and then finally get into work and I'm just sitting there like just there.
Wow.
And I would call my boss and I'd be like, I gotta go. I can't, so just being honest, that was me. It was me.
Wow.
But I was going through so much personal stuff that was the first time I allowed my personal life to affect my work life.
To affect your whole life in its entirety.
Yeah, in its entirety.
You were still like you could move.
And it affected my entire life. This was the first time since my son was born that I didn't have money to give his mom. My bank account hit like negative $2,000.
Wait. What? First of all, what bank were you banking at to where they let you get in the red for $2,000? 2 bands? I
think it was Bank of America.
Stop it.
Yeah, Bank of America.
Bank of America. Why are you not allowing me to do that?
But yeah, it was rough, and I had a suicide attempt.
Wow.
And was in a psychiatric clinic. It was.
Talk about truth. We hearing all of the tea and truth today, Shamar.
Yeah.
How did you come back from that? Really? How did you come back from that?
Oh my God.
And how long did it take you to come back from something like that?
So, honestly, I would say
because first it takes a lot to be able to admit that you not only were in a space, and thank you for sharing that with us, not only in a space where you felt like you didn't want to go on anymore, but you were actually suicidal to the degree that you had to be admitted.
Yeah. And a lot of people look at me and they would never know that or never think that.
Do a lot of people know that? Have you shared that with?
I've actually shared it on social media before. After this is years after, but I did share that on social media because I've always felt like if God allows you or brings you through a storm,
come on, sir,
that it is very important for you to share that with other people because it could inspire them and help somebody else. And I'm really big on if anything that I've went through, if it can help somebody else, then I'm all for it.
And us church folks call that sharing our testimony, right?
Yeah, sharing your testimony. I feel like that's very important. And I was working for Apple one time, and one of the customers that I was helping, she basically told me that same thing. And I told her, I was like, my family is always at me because they're like, you share everything on social media. And I was telling her, I try to tell them all the time, if my story of anything I go through can help somebody, I'm all for that.
Right. I feel you on that. I completely and totally agree with you on not only on sharing your story, but sharing your passions like you do with the world. Because, and I've gotten that too. I get that. I don't get it as much now, but like when everybody got on this social media train, especially us old folks. It was, you share everything on Facebook, da 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 da. But it's so important to share your story, like you said, and your passions, because someone within your 6 degrees of separation or close to you, however you want to say it, they may need to see that so that because your experience may be the only broad experience that they have to broaden their lives or to say, oh, somebody can relate to me, right?
Yeah, but that's something in the black household that has kept so many of
us. We be sweeping it under their rug.
Yeah, that whole what happens in this house
stays in this house.
One of the most toxic.
Is it not? It is because so many things that we hold are a detriment to us because of that one statement that we got from grandmama and them and mama and them and in them in those on those back roads of the country, where all our secrets, some of our secrets are still there, but they need to be shared.
Yeah, I was watching one of the Tyler Perry plays, and Medea was like, forget that. And what's going on in this house is hurting me. I'm going to get help.
I'm gonna tell it.
And that's really important. Like,
and Tyler was one of our best he was the best thing that ever happened to Black folks.
He really was.
Because he was the one of the first thing that one of the first people that said, hey, it's all right to let the world know, to let somebody know that you experience this trauma or that somebody's abusing you. So that is I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I think that we are wrapping up, but before we do, what else would you like to add to what we were just talking about before we end this wonderful? I hate that it's ended so soon.
I know, like I just said that.
I know.
Just for anybody, regardless of what it is that you do, to just never stop going.
I like that.
Always find love and light in everything that you do. And if you feel whatever passion it is that you have, and just sit back and let God take over, because a lot of things that that have happened to me, I never thought would happen. I never thought I would be a designer.
Right.
I never thought I would, especially be a designer and only 5 years in winning 2 awards. When there's people that have been doing it
That's amazing.
20+ years that have never been nominated for anything.
Right.
So it's just been a big blessing. It really has. So just always keep going. That's my biggest thing for that I can tell anybody. Just keep going. That's what I did.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So y'all, we've been talking to Shamar Houston. But before we go, listen, it's so much stuff going on in the news right now. It's crazy. I know you're one of those people that don't watch the news, but hey, I'm a newsie. The news industry is my thing, my field. So we're gonna add that little tidbit to Truth Speaks. So, what has been going on in the news that has drawn or gotten your attention? Whether it's the Super Bowl halftime show or this current administration, give me a little bit of what you've been paying attention to, and then we're gonna let you leave the sofa. It's been such a great pleasure to have you. But what you been paying attention to?
I guess if I think about it, she just told you I don't watch the news only because, and I know it's important to watch
and it's
the news
cool
to stay updated and everything. It's just always so much bad stuff that I try to stay away. But as far as the things that I have saw on the news that stood out to me, so I guess we can talk about Kendrick's.
Okay, yeah. How do you feel about this huge debate in the Black community about how everybody felt about the halftime show?
I was a part of that debate on Facebook. So the message behind his performance was absolutely amazing.
It was phenomenal.
The message, and everything that he did, from Samuel L. Jackson being Uncle Sam and just all of that, especially while y'all's president was there.
Somebody president.
That was really, really dope. But I also understood the other aspect of it, where people were saying it was a boring performance. I got that.
You got it?
I'm a music artist, so I get the message behind the songs and everything that he did, but also as the performance as a whole, I got that.
Yeah.
So and people were mad on social media with so many people that were saying that the performance was boring. If y'all saying y'all didn't like it, y'all missing the message.
You missed the message, right?
People can separate.
Right.
I get the message.
Right.
Versus I'm still not. I wasn't entertained.
Right. Because everything is not going to be a boots on the ground type entertainment or whatever.
Yeah, and everything is not for everybody. So where a lot of people like it and they like the message, there was a lot of people that just was like, this was the most boring. I said that's what I saw. A lot of people say this was the most boring.
But you're on the side of it was a phenomenal halftime show.
It was a good message. it was a good message. But was I entertained? Was I like, no?
Okay.
But it was
okay. We're gonna end it there because we have run out of time. This has been such a great show. Thank you, Shamar, for coming and sitting down on our sofa. I know you got to get back up 85 in all of that Atlanta traffic, y'all. He is officially an Atlantean. How about that? All right, y'all. This has been Truth Speaks with D. Mosley. Thank you, Shamar.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right.